Welcome to your Week 2 microlesson. This week's topic is problem solving and decision making. There is a difference between critical thinking and problem solving. Critical thinking is an intentional and reflective way of looking at things or circumstances, while problem solving focuses on a specific situation. It requires you to think critically, but in relation to a specific situation. Problem solving, which is sometimes called solution seeking, is a mental process that involves discovering, analyzing, and solving problems to overcome obstacles and find a solution that best resolves the issue at hand. There are many different problem-solving processes. The one that I like to use is a 4-step process. It begins with defining the problem. What is the problem, and why is it happening? So, in other words, what is the difference between what you expect or desire to happen and what is currently happening? The next step is to develop a plan. What are we going to do to impact the reason why the problem is happening to begin with? Then you implement the plan, carry out the intervention, and then you ask yourself, did the plan work? Did it get me closer to my goal? Here's an example. I would like to go to the gym and work out 5 days a week. I currently am only going 2 days a week. Why is this happening? Well, there may be many reasons. Perhaps I work too many hours. Perhaps I have children at home to take care of. Perhaps I'm just tired and would rather spend my time doing something else. Perhaps I don't have transportation and I'm not sure how I'm going to get there 5 days a week. The plan, in order to increase the number of times I'm going to the gym every week, would have to address one or more of these barriers. By addressing one or more of these barriers, it would increase the likelihood that I would go to the gym. The first 3 steps in the decision-making process are really critical. They begin by understanding the situation. What is the problem? Writing a problem statement can sometimes help. It helps to think of the problem as, do you have something that you don't want or you'd like less? Or do you want something that you don't have? So in the example that I used just a moment ago, I want to go to the gym 5 days a week, but I'm only going 2 days a week on average. In other words, I want something that I don't currently have. Then you brainstorm all the possible causes of the problem. What's contributing to the problem? What's getting in the way or causing the problem to happen? Ask yourself why on several levels. So one example might be, well, because I'm working long hours. Well, why are you working long hours? Because I bought an expensive car. Well, why did you buy an expensive car? Because I thought I could afford it, and on and on and on. And then decide on possible solutions tied to those reasons for which the problem is happening. In other words, perhaps you consider buying a less expensive car so that you don't have to work as many hours, so that you have more time in your day to do things like go to the gym. After brainstorming solutions to the problem that is tied to the reasons the problem is happening in the beginning, you want to evaluate the consequences of implementing each of the solutions. So for example, you may decide that perhaps you could sell your car and you could downgrade from a big SUV to a very small car, and that it would be more affordable and cost you less in gas, which would mean that you would have to work less hours to pay for it and have more time to do things like go to the gym. But there are consequences to this decision. So for example, you won't be able to transport as many people in your car. Maybe this isn't practical because you have several children and they won't all fit in a small car. And on and on. For each solution, you would evaluate what are the possible consequences of implementing that solution. Then you choose the best solution based on this analysis. Over time, you evaluate whether or not the solution is working in the way that you thought it would. Maybe you buy a new, smaller car, and you decide that you're going to do it despite the drawbacks, but you're still not going to the gym. So it's really not impacting what you were hoping to achieve to begin with. There may be other things that are being more impactful on whether or not you go to the gym than the long hours you're doing at work. When selecting between solutions, possible solutions, you want to ask yourself these questions. Does it violate any of my values? Have I considered all of the consequences of each solution? Can I live with those consequences? Once you implement a solution, ask yourself these questions. What went well? What did not go well? What could be done differently? And ultimately, did it work? And if it didn't work, why? What other solutions might we want to implement instead? Problem solving and effective decision making require critical thinking. Adopting a standard problem-solving process to make decisions will help you to clearly think through issues and adopt effective solutions. Evaluating the impact of chosen solutions will help you to make timely changes to those strategies when needed, saving you time, energy, and sometimes even resources like money. Implementing a problem-solving process takes time up front, but it ultimately helps you to find effective solutions more efficiently.